Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 2-bike platform rack on our 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now this is going to be a great stylish way of getting our bikes up onto our rack and on the road with us to the trailhead. As you see, Kuat has a very stylish platform here today. I like the metallic gray, getting a lot of cool accent coloring on it as well, but it's not all just about looks. We are getting a very stable platform here, and with a 60-pound capacity per bike, we're gonna get the majority of those bikes that we need up on this rack. You can see that we do have a tire hold system here, so if you're looking for a way of getting those carbon frame bikes up on our rack today, this is gonna be a great option. As you can see, we already have our carbon frame here, and why that is, we don't have any frame contact, so we're not deteriorating or warping that frame. Pardon me. And with that as well, you can see that we are going to be fitting most of our bikes, whether that be women's bikes, step-through bikes, or even those kiddos bikes. Not going to have too much trouble at all because we actually have this wheel hold. Now, a lot of the styles that you see will have either like a middle frame adjustment or those hanging styles, and that usually leads you to need a bike adapter bar. However, since we are just holding onto our wheels, we're not going to have any issue at all with that. Taking a look at the platform itself, you can see we have a pretty long track here to get most of our bikes up on here. Taking a look at the end of the cradle here too, we do have an integrated cable lock. I really like showing this off right away because it's extremely easy to use. It's just going to go ahead and loop on itself around our bike. And what's great about this too is that we actually have one on each of our platforms. So we're getting a designated cable lock for each of our bikes. That means we're not having to run it through two ends, struggling to make those end meets. We're just going to have them set to themselves. So it makes it extremely easy to make sure our bikes are secured. And as well here, we do see that we have this adjustable cradle right here. As you can see, we're gonna be able to slide this up and down. It makes it extremely versatile. Gonna go a whole bunch of different bikes up on here, be your standard mountain bike, your standard bikes as well, or even those heavy e-bikes getting up on here. Keep in mind with that 60-pound weight capacity, we are going to get most of our bikes as we mentioned. And on the end here, on this plastic strip, you can see that we do have some little rubber matting on the inside. That's going to be doing a great job once we get this loop through our wheel, hooking down all those wheel rims, not causing any damage, whether it be friction or just, little pressure on it. I just like that little bit of padding goes a long way. As you can see, we do just have a simple ratcheting system. You can just pull that right through, and it won't be able to pull out unless we actually push on this lever. I actually like this little outer housing too. Just make sure that that lever is going to get pushed unless we want to. And again, as we saw, those adjustable cradles makes it extremely versatile to get a whole bunch of bikes on here. On this front cradle too, you can see that we are getting a nice little grooves in here. On the inside, you're getting your standard set for those standard tires, as well as a little bit wider for those mountain bikes and getting a little bit further for some of our bigger tires. Now I think our biggest issue today, as you can see, we're about at 4.5 inches of tire width on there. However, as you saw on those strips, not extremely large to actually account for some of those fat tire bikes. So that might be some of the issues you might run with this guy. This ratcheting arm is extremely easy to use as well. I really like this system as well. It's not really clanking. It's got a really good natural resistance against it, which is going to be nice when we're going down the road. And how this arm really works, all we have to do, press in this little button right here. It's going to go ahead and allow us to bring this up. Once our tire gets set in here, we just bring this down right on our tire like so. And as you can see, not going to be pulling up unless I go ahead and push in that lever. So very secure, doing a good job of holding those tires in there. Makes it extremely easy to throw a multitude of bikes up on here with relatively no ease. Now, a great part of this system as well is that we actually do have a pretty spacious cargo area in the back. Of course, with our vehicle, we want to be able to get its full use of it as much as we can. So if we want to, we can come right here down the middle. And this lever right here is actually going to be pretty integral to make this happen. All we want to do is simply pull this back like so. Make sure we have a good handle on this mast too, and to go ahead and set it down. Now keep in mind, as you get heavier and heavier bikes on here, that will be a little bit harder to kind of support, but I definitely recommend supporting it. We don't want 120 pounds smashing down. That could end up doing a little bit of damage to our inner assembly. So just helping it goes a long way. Opening the hatch, like you can see, ample room to swing this out. Now I can get in here, now I can get my coolers, I can get those bike helmets, anything I might need without having to climb over those seats is always helpful. As well, as you can see, I got a lot of room here. I can do a full 360 with no trouble. Now I can get my groceries maybe and throw them up there, or maybe I'm stopping by anywhere and get some of my commodities and toss them right in the back with no trouble. So I really like how easy that is to tilt out of the way. Allows us ample room to get into our storage area. To bring it up is almost even simpler. We don't even have to worry about that lever. All we have to do is come up to our mast, pull it right up like so. As you can see, it's going to be doing a very good job of walking itself in. It's going to go ahead and click in. We know it's nice and secure. There's no pins, no clips to have to worry about. Very, very hands-free once we get it set in its position. Well, let's go ahead and take the bike rack off, see how hard it is to do. We're going to go ahead and start with our back wheel here. And again, as we mentioned, we just have these little ratchet straps. Again, that lever, extremely easy to push in, pulling in the rest of our strap, getting it set to the side like so. And then we want to come right to the middle. Now, I always recommend getting a hand on our bike. We don't want it tilting into our vehicle or ourselves. And we come back to our ratcheting arm system. Again, that button, extremely easy just to push in. I like the ergonomic grip. It gives us a good little point just to utilize our thumb. Push it up with no trouble at all and get that to the side. And here we are ready to walk this off. Now you can imagine with a 60-pound bike, it's going to be a little bit more weighty. But as you can see, I'm actually going to get pretty close here. Even with this stuff in the way, it's not too far out. Most of that weight is going to be right where I want it. So I can just go ahead, grab it like so, and get ready to ride. So extremely easy to use and walk right up and off. And to collapse it down is just as easy. We just want to come on in, bring that arm like so. You can hear it going down like that. And again, I really like the stylish copper orange, always looking good from Kuat. And if you were really worried about it, you could probably get this strap through so that way it's not going to be, banging up against or popping off if you're really worried about it. However, this guy has a lot of natural resistance. So as you can see, if we're going down the road, this isn't going to be swinging wildly. It's going to hold itself pretty well. However, with just a little bit of force from ourselves and consistent pressure, it will move. But I don't think it's going to have any issue going down the road on its own. Now, with any hitch-mounted accessory, we are going to add some length to our vehicle. So it's important to keep in mind just how much we're adding. So let's go ahead and take a look. From the rear of our bumper to the end of our rack. Sitting right about, we'll add about a ½ inch here, so at 33.5 inches, definitely going to be a little bit of length added. However, we are getting a nice stable 2-bike platform. So what can we do to maybe shorten that down? Well, again, that lever that we use to do that tilt-away feature can actually be utilized for a put-away feature as well. So it's really nice that it's one integral system. Again, pulling that lever like so, even easier without those bikes on there, and walking it up into position. Again, no pins and clips, it's ready to go. And as you can see, doing a good job of holding itself in there. We're going to have very little or no play at all as we get on the road. So I really like that of how well that system works. Taking a look here and see how much we shaved down. And from the rear of our bumper to the end of our anti-rattle device puts us at 16 inches exactly. So, pardon me. About half of that length already shaved down, so that's extremely nice that we can do that. Hopefully now we can get this in the garage, or maybe we're at the trailhead and we got the bikes off. We just need a little bit more maneuverability to get in some of those tight parking places. This is really going to help us with that. So you always love to see that. And just to give you guys a quick little measurement from the rear of our bumper here to our arm being our closest point, looks like we're about 5 3/4 to the end of our arm. And again, as we mentioned, that resistance on the arms, I don't think we're going to have any issues with our vehicle getting hit by that rack at all. So love to see how well that actually holds itself in. Now, an important thing to keep in mind too, another dimension, is our clearance factor. So as our front wheels go up, our back will go down, including our hitch-mounted accessory. So in the current position, in the put-away form, let's go ahead and take a look to the end of our inner assembly here. Looks to be about 11 3/4 to the very end. So definitely going to be something to keep in the back of your mind. However, we go ahead and utilize that lever system again, walk it right down. Now when we have our bikes up on here, remember we are adding a little bit of length from our wheels, so it'll be tilting down just a little bit more. So to the very end here, we can take a quick look. And at 21 inches, I definitely think we're going to be sitting pretty. Don't think we're going to have too much issue, but if you have a very steep driveway, maybe doing a little off-roading, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Moving our way down the shank here, we do have a 2-inch shank receiver. You can see here today that we do have in our 2-inch hitch. And today we've also gone ahead and thrown on the etrailer hitch pin alignment collar. Now this is sold separately, but we highly recommend it. It just makes our life that much easier, especially if we're taking this carrier on and off a lot. What it's doing is, once we actually get this set for the first time, I can come on, I can throw this collar in like so, with just tightening these down. This hinge flange just goes right around the shank. Very, very easy to install. And what it does is now that when I take this off, I can put it right back on. That hitch pin is going to be aligned exactly where I had it last time, and that means I'm spending a lot less time on my hands and my knees trying to find that hole. Moving it in and out becomes a real bother. Now, early Saturday morning, I can throw it right in and get going where I want to go. And then here too, you can see we just have a simple little pin on the end here to align our holes. But at the back end here, we do have a Kuat locking core. So a great thing about these guys as well is these will be key to like to those integrated cable locks on the end of our platform, as we mentioned. So it's going to be nice. If you're like me, you only need one key, not having to worry about whichever one fits whatever. And we'll have a couple spares to boot, which is always really nice. Taking a look at the very end here too, I wanted to mention the anti-rattle device. So a lot of times you start seeing those anti-rattle threaded hitch bolts, which do a good job. However, you can counter thread them, and predominantly we have to have a tool to make sure they're tightened down, and we also have to get underneath our hitch, which can be kind of a bother, right? Especially with this big guy in the way. However, in the very end here, you can see that we just have a simple knob on the end. So what's great about this guy is this is actually tightening the cam inside of our hitch. That way, we're getting a nice bind inside of our frame. And if I give this guy a big shake, you can see it's actually shaking the entirety of the vehicle. So that means we're taking a lot of the play out of our rack. So our bikes are going to feel it less, our rack's going to feel it less, and we're going to feel it less as we drive, which is always nice. Anything we can do to reduce that friction is going to go a long way, not only for the ride, but also protecting our merchandise. And also on here, you can see that there is a little room for an Allen wrench here that will come included. What's great about that guy too, if we are on a long trip, we can go ahead, really crank that down, make sure that we're not gonna have any trouble at all with that coming loose. It is a really nice feature that I like that they've included. And a great thing about it too, is we can actually stand right here and actually tighten it down or loosen up. I think this is where Kuat really starts to shine as well. You can see that that lever system, extremely easy to utilize a foot to actually bring it down. So imagine we got our bike here, we're on the trail. I can go ahead, bring that down, bring this arm up, and start setting in my bike. And all it took was one hand and a foot. So extremely, extremely easy to use. And I really like how quick it is. Another great thing about this guy too is it does come included with a bike repair stand. So when we have it in its put away function, we can come ahead, open up this latch like so, open up this arm, and actually go ahead and utilize this as well. So now we can go ahead, squeeze in our bikes, get a little bit of room here too. That way I can get a bike set in here, do any repairs I might need, maybe clean off some of the mud before we get it on our rack. So always nice to see that. Just makes, you know, the ease of use way better, especially we're not worried about being at the trail, damaging our bike, and having no way of getting it home. Now we can go ahead and do some quick repairs. So always lovely to see those little elements coming in, helping us as we go on our trails. Well, again, I think the Kuat obviously can speak for itself on the stylishness. I love the color system, and the metallic gray is going to be looking very, very well. It's also just an endurable bike rack. You know, there's a reason a lot of people like these guys. They hold up, and they are a good quality product. I love the ease of use on the bottom end here too. I don't have to stand up and get on my hands and knees. I can just come right here, tighten this, make sure I'm good to go. And this lever system, extremely, extremely easy to use, whether in its put away function or it's in its normal platform rack, easily accessible and easy to use. Well, I think that about does it for our look at the Kuat NV 2.0 on our 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
First, we'll take it onto our slalom course. This will show you the side-to-side action, such as making turns or evasive maneuvers. Now we're at the alternating speed bumps. This will show you how it looks driving on uneven pavement or potholes. Finally, we're at the solid speed bumps, which simulates going into your driveway or parking lots.